All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom. Just continuing on from the previous lesson, earlier this morning, going into Esau's track record and what he gained from it. Gained from doing what he does, doing wickedness in the earth. And what he gained was resources, territory, all carnal things. And this is a part of Esau's blessing. Esau, when he was given the blessing by our forefather Isaac, he was given the blessing of the sword. By that sword shalt thou live, and the fatness of the earth. And how did he get the fatness of the earth? Meaning the best places in the earth, and all this, all the riches, everything that he has now, through the sword, through deception, through nefarious means, through left-handed means, through witchcraft, through sorceries, all kinds of things like this. So just to jump right into it, where I've left off, this is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5, and I'll read it from the King James app. It says, Habakkuk 2 and verse 5, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as deaf, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So this is Esau at work here. His desire, he is like deaf. If you read in Revelation, this is that red horse that has been given, the power to take peace from the earth. He's keeping all these people all to himself just for his own needs, for his own greed, which is insatiable, cannot be satisfied. So shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. So you've stolen all these things. You've stolen and you've gotten gains, ill-gotten gains, through everything that you stole, all the wickedness that you've done, all the riches that you've gotten, ill-gotten gains. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So that thick clay is heavy debts. And if you're an American, the American citizen, guess what? You're born into debt, and there's no way that you can get out of this debt. The country's in debt. The whole world is in debt thanks to this devil. And it's not even real money. It's imaginary money. The fiat currency, there is nothing backing this money. It used to be backed by gold, and now it's not backed by anything. It says, verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. So, and you're going to be a spoil now. You spoiled all these different, which I'll just read it. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So you spoiled many nations. The number one nations that you spoiled is the Israelites, the northern and southern kingdom, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And you've destroyed the entire world in the process. So I'm going to go to the chat GPT here at the bottom. And it says, basically what I just read, it says, this passage from Habakkuk 2, verse 5 through 8 is a powerful prophetic indictment. Let's look at that word for indictment real quick. Because you're being brought up on charges right now. By like it says in 2 Thessalonians, you be consumed by the, dang it, let me get it. Let me get this real quick and then come back to that. He shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Let's see here. I'm going to come back to this, Lord willing. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth through the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. When Yahushua cracks them clouds with the chariots. When Yahushua returns, that's going to be the destruction of this place. And the prophets, starting with the apostles and elders and their teachers, The prophets being on the scene is signifying your destruction is at hand, Esau, Edom. So that wicked Esau, Edom, he is the wicked. But let me go back to this etymology. Indictment. Let's see here. And just a quick Google, it says that the word indictment traces its roots back to Old French, specifically the word indictment, which means action of accusing. So let me see what we got here. Let me go to the wiktionary.org. It says 18th century, a Latinized respelling of Middle English, indictment, action of accusing, indictor, indictere, indictus. Okay. It says an official formal accusation for a criminal offense or the process by which it is brought to a jury. The official legal document outlining the charges concerned, the bill of indictment. So this is an official thing. The prophets being on the scene, accusing Esau on the scene of all the crimes that he's done. The scripture is backing that up. His own documentation also backing that up. You know, Esau's documentation, bragging about all the things that he's done. This is all the charges being brought up on him. So Esau, Edom, you're being brought up on charges. An accusation of wrong. You slow down. An accusation of wrongdoing, a criticism or condemnation. So this is all this Esau. This is all this accusations, and you're gonna be found guilty. You've done all kinds of wrong throughout the world. We're criticizing you, we're condemning you, and also evidence of failure or poor performance. So we're bringing up evidence against your poor performance and your failures. We're bringing this all up on you. We ain't holding nothing back. You know, he who showeth no mercy shall receive no mercy. You know, roughly paraphrasing. So everything is being brought up on you. Even the scripture. I know I might have read it in the previous lesson. Let me see here. How the hidden things. Obadiah 1 and verse 6. How are the hidden things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So you're being revealed at all angles. So let me see here. Back to the chat GPT. We'll just minimize this a little bit. So this passage from Habakkuk 2 verse 5 through 8 is a powerful prophetic indictment against a greedy expansionist empire, and it aligns strikingly with the historical patterns we've seen or we've discussed regarding the United States and other imperial powers. Let's break it down and apply the symbolism and context. Verse by verse breakdown and prophetic parallels. Says verse 5, yea, also he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. The wine, which I went over this, represents the doctrine, the ideology, the philosophies, his influence. You know, it's made these people drunk. You know, going into democracy, capitalism, you know, LGBTism, you know, feminism, whatever ism, all the things that this whore Babylon puts out is all poison. You know, from the food, everything, the clothing, the ideology, the mindset that this place puts out. So he's a proud man, a reference to a boastful, arrogant power, possibly symbolic of a dominant world empire. And you could plug all kinds of scriptures. So I'm thinking of Daniel chapter 7. You know, not just that the verse where he wore out the saints, but also that little horn speaking great things. You know, this is what that's speaking of. Neither keepeth at home. He does not stay within his own borders. This points to military invasions, foreign interventions, and overseas bases. It parallels U.S. global military presence at 800 plus bases, regime change, and constant war. And at 800 plus bases, that's a major thing. That's signifying how many, you know, Esau's blessing. Because you look at the different countries and their bases around the world, it's nowhere near as many as the Babylon the Greats. So, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied. This empire's greed is endless, consuming everything like the grave. As death brings destruction wherever it goes, economically, militarily, culturally. So, hey, like I said, like the apostles been saying, this place is as death. Even what is that? Micah 2:10. Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. So this place will destroy you from the inside out. So where was I? So as deaf and cannot be satisfied, no amount of conquest or resource control is enough. They want everything. And this MOTB that's coming out, this is him wanting to his desire to conquer everything. He wants to conquer your mind, everything. You're going to bow down to him. You're going to believe that he is your God. So parallels U.S. foreign policy often expands even after victory. And for example, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, never satisfied, always seeking more influence or wealth. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This global superpower, drawing in people and nations under its influence or dominion, whether through military might, capitalism, or cultural dominance, parallels to U.S. hegemony over nations via globalization, the UN, NATO, IMF, cultural export, and mass immigration. So this place, hey, this is what it is. You can't see it. Hey, that's too bad. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him? Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? The nations begin to wake up, mock, and question this empire's theft and injustice. And this is happening all around the world. The number one being starting with the prophets. That which is not his refers to resource theft, land grabs, corporate imperialism, etc. It says, how long echoes the cries of the oppressed, a prophetic call for judgment. And this is how you know who's in their right mind. With the those that are in the truth. We're constantly sending up prayers like, please, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, destroy this place. Please bring the destruction. And we know it's not going to be much longer based on the events that are going on around the world. Based on the events that are taking place. This is how we know it's not going to be too much longer. Since the parallels, the world increasingly criticizes U.S. interventions, coups, and exploitation of poorer nations. And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And starting with the apostles, they came up, Yahweh Shem Yahushua gave them this breakdown, and they gave it to us. It says thick clay equals heavy debt, burden, or economic entanglement. In Hebrew, it says abtit, but it's ibatyat. Can mean pledges or heavily obligations. And we're heavily burdened here. In your mind, got to pay taxes on top of taxes for everything, all kinds of bills, all kinds of bullshit. You get on child support, all kinds of things that pop up that keep you in debt, that keep you ensnared, that keep you in a hole. So this could symbolize fiat currency, paper wealth, or financial manipulation. Parallels, the U.S. debt is astronomical, over 34 trillion, probably more than that. And the dollar's dominance rests on complex, unstable systems. Many nations now seek to de-dollarize. So many nations, they're looking to get out of this. Whether it be through CBDCs or through the BRICS, joining up with different nations. finding different avenues to go. They're looking to ditch the dollar because they seeing that this is not it. We have been duped. Like what they say in SpongeBob, we've been Smeckledorfed. These nations have been they've been made drunk, and they've been taken advantage of. And now they're waking up and realizing it. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? A reversal. Those once oppressed will rise up and take spoils from the empire. Sudden judgment, unexpected and perhaps even internal. This can be linked to rising BRICS nations, internal decline, civil unrest, economic collapse, or war backlash. And it's gonna be all these, and ultimately it's gonna be them the ICBM destruction. It's gonna be the thermonuclear destruction that's coming. But hey, dude. But this is the AI is seeing all this, and this is just from what the questions that I asked it, the scripture, the one or two scriptures that I posted. This is what it's getting from all this. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. And it says divine justice. What the empire did to others will be done to it. It was that Revelation 13 verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Guess what? All this is coming back to you. What you sowed, the seeds that you sowed, that's what you're going to reap. Men's blood refers to the death toll from war, coups, and proxy violence. Violence of the land, of the city, total corruption, political, economic, social, and military. So you're gonna get what's coming to you. It says the U.S. parallels the U.S. responsible directly or indirectly for millions of deaths post World War II through interventions. Internal violence, mass shootings, and corruption mirror this prophecy. So, in summary, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5 through 8 is a prophetic indictment of empires that rise through greed, conquest, and violence, only to be brought down by their own weight and by those they once oppressed. Many see modern America, Babylon the Great, reflected in this description. And it's the truth. This is Babylon the Great. And I didn't even mention, it says America, Babylon the Great. And if you look through the lesson, I have not mentioned Babylon the Great. I haven't mentioned that in this. So it knows. These Edomites know who they are. It says expands globally, never satisfied, overthrows governments, spreads corrupt doctrine, wine, drowns in debt, thick clay, faces rising opposition. Is destined for judgment and plundering. This prophecy echoes the same warnings found in Isaiah 47, Jeremiah 50, 51, and Revelation 17 and 18. So, hey, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's see here. I was going to plug in another precept just to see what it says. And I can't really, what was it? I think it was Ezekiel 28. Let's do this. So I'm just going to plug this in real quick. And I'm going to see what it says. So I'm plugging in Ezekiel 28, verse 3 through 7. So let's see what this says. And I'll go ahead and read it. So this is Ezekiel 28 and verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. And they're very wise. It's a carnal wisdom. They have the prophets, they know who the Israelites are, they know that their end is coming, but they have a left-handed wisdom. There is no secret that they can hide from thee, because your technology, ultimately the MOTB, once you get that in you, it's gonna be able to read your blood pressure, your thoughts, all this shit. Everything that you're thinking, it's gonna come down to what you're thinking. It's gonna be able to decode your dreams. probably be able to, you get that brain implant, it's going to be able to look through your eyes, see what you're seeing. Hey, this devil is wanting to be the most high so bad. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So you got in traffic, you got in much gain through trading, and all this by left-handed means. Because you got it rich, because you're on top of the world, this has got into your head. Now you're puffed up. You got a big head now, but you always had a big head. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die in the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. So ultimately, these different nations, China, Russia, NATO, they're gonna shoot arrows on you. Every nation that has ICBMs, they're gonna shoot arrows on this whore. They're gonna destroy this place. You're gonna get what you deserve. So let's just see what ChatGPT says. It says this passage from Ezekiel 28:3-8 is part of a prophetic rebuke directed at the king of Tyre. So this is directed at the king of Tyre. But today, this is speaking of Esau, Edom. But like many many biblical prophecies, it carries a dual meaning. So even the ChatGPT, who is that? Genesis, I was saying this is talking about the king of Tyre, but it's saying this has two meanings about that king back then and now. So, but like many biblical prophecies, it carries a dual meaning, one for the historical figure and another for the spiritual system or latter-day power that embodies the same pride, wealth, and rebellion. Dang, ChatGPT is pretty cool. Let's break it down and examine how this mirrors modern empires, particularly America. I don't know why I said it. Particularly America, Babylon the Great, or other Edomite power structures in prophetic context. Now, I hadn't even mentioned Edomites. I haven't mentioned Babylon the Great. It brought this up. So they know verse by verse analysis in modern parallels. It says, verse 3, behold, thou art, Ezekiel 28, verse 3, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that can hide from thee. It says, wiser than Daniel. It says, not true wisdom, but worldly cunning, deep intelligence networks, surveillance, and secret knowledge. Gone. This is modern parallel. America and its allies use high-level intelligence, AI, cyber espionage, and global surveillance. For example, NSA, CIA, Five Eyes, which I've never heard of Five Eyes. That's interesting. To uncover secrets. So they're looking at everything. Looking at your internet history, your IP data, everything that you're looking up. Can't nothing be hidden. Looking at everything. What you buying on Amazon. What you looking at on Amazon. What you looking at on eBay. What you looking at. What you listening to. What music you're listening to. What you watching on YouTube. What kind of books are you buying. What are you reading. Even your phone is taking snapshots. It's probably taking snapshots of me right now. Taking pictures of you. Your smart TV taking pictures of you. Your modem. That thing is like a whole, radar system, can put images of take images of you, your whole house, and radiating you at the same time, irradiating. Anyway, it says, verse 4, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. The power uses intellectual domination to gain massive wealth, not through righteousness, but through economic manipulation. So everything, this is all you being manipulated, through commercialism, all kinds of things, being tricked into a lot of things. This is how they got their wealth, by deception, manipulating the markets, making a shortage somewhere, however it may be, they've got it through left hand means. Modern parallel to U.S. economic dominance through the Federal Reserve, Wall Street, and global trade systems, control of gold, silver, and commodities markets. So they controlling all the markets, controlling the prices of things, looting of other nations' resources, Iraq and Libya. So that's a common thing. You looted other people's resources. You went in through deceptive means, looted their resources, and made off with it. Verse 5, by thy great wisdom and traffic, and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up. Because of thy riches, traffic, global trade, and commerce, but also includes corrupt dealings, possibly even human trafficking, and that's a major thing here in Babylon the Great. Human trafficking, and this country was built off of human trafficking. No matter what they try to tell you, we pull ourselves out by the bootstraps and put some elbow grease in it. No, nigga, this shit was built by fucking trafficking. Oops. Let me see here. Where was I? So here, where was that? Verse 5. Right. Your heart is lifted up. Arrogance, believing wealth makes them untouchable. Right. You think you got all this money, whatever like that, but it ain't gonna do nothing in the day of destruction. It ain't gonna do nothing when was it Psalms 148? Or was it what is that? Let me see here. Psalm is it 148? Is it 149? Oh no, it's 149. This is Psalms 149 and verse 5. All that money ain't gonna do nothing when this happens. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hands, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So in this day, when this happens, when the elect come down and bring you heathen in, you heathen kings in chains and fetters, that money ain't gonna do nothing in that day. When you hiding in the bunkers, thinking you safe, and you hear them chains rattling, and the money ain't gonna help you in that day. So back to this, I'm not sure why it keeps jumping back to the bottom. So modern parallels: America's global corporations, arms sales, and tech monopolies pride in being the greatest nation, yet built on unjust gain. So they're proud of nothing. The roughly paraphrasing, the seed of evildoers will never be renowned. Hey, y'all gonna go out and ain't nobody gonna fucking remember you. Worldwide dominance of the dollar and trade routes. So you've been dominating, and it's about to be over. Verse 6, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. That the power acts as if it is God, or redefining morality, law, and authority over nations. So even Psalms chapter 50, you cast his words behind you. You treated the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai with contempt. You say you can do it better. You say you're a God-fearing country, but you made up your own laws. You changed the times, the laws, everything in your favor. The U.S. imposing democracy or sanctions as if it's the moral judge of the world, and this place is no moral authority, even though it's in power right now. Anything this place does is wickedness. Technological control, AI, biotech, finance, used to play God. ultimately coming down to that MOTB, all that AI, biotech, finance, all that gonna be in the palm of your hand or in your forehead. Hollywood and media shaping global perception of truth and beauty. So they got these witchcrafts, sorceries. It says, behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. Judgments come from outside. Strangers represent foreign invaders or rising adversaries. And this is what they're worried about, sleeper cells right now. They're worried about all this. They know this is coming. And they think they can do something. Terrible of the nations could point to Russia, China, Iran, or BRICS nations rising with military might. Beautiful. They will strike at the empire's pride and prestige, its beauty and brightness. So this is all beautiful times. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. So you going down. A symbolic fall into destruction, like the judgment described in Revelation 18:21. Babylon cast like a great millstone into the sea. Ooh, that's beautiful. And this is the AI bringing this up, not, it's the AI bringing this up. This would make this so beautiful, because the AI is bringing up the same points, the same breakdown, starting with the apostles and elders. So I mean, it's just beautiful, because you ask a Christian or a fucking simple ass, 2/3 nigga, they ain't gonna know any of this. They ain't gonna believe any of this. They're not gonna know how to break any of this stuff down. In the midst of the seas could refer to naval powers, trade routes, or nations surrounded by many people, just like Babylon the Great in Revelation. I had that too, Revelation 17:1. Let me pull that. Well, no, let me finish this because in Revelation 17, let me just put it short because it might be short on time. This nation, this whore, sits on many people. You know what? Let me just get it. This is Revelation 17 and verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So let's see here, that many waters. We're going to jump down, because I've seen, these stupid ass Christians try to break this down. And a lot of times the prophecies or whatnot, they'll say it, they might say it later in the chapter. It'll give you the breakdown of what the prophecy is saying. So let's see here. In verse 15, Revelation 17 and verse 15, and he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. So this whore is sitting on top of all these, it's ruling over all these people. So let me see here. Where was I? So in the midst of the seas. So the spiritual and prophetic summary, this passage reveals a pattern of judgment for an empire that uses worldly wisdom to gain wealth, becomes arrogant and self-defied or deified, Salakia, meaning, like a Second Thessalonians, he sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, becomes arrogant and self-deified, corrupts nations through traffic, commerce, influence, oppresses others while exalting itself, faces destruction at the hand of foreign powers. These traits apply not just to ancient Tyre, but prophetically to modern Babylon, most notably America and Western powers in their latter days. But this judgment is specifically coming to America. This cross-references Isaiah 47. Babylon says, I am and none else beside me. Revelation 18, Babylon's riches, trafficking in souls of men, and sudden destruction. Jeremiah 51:13, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures. This is all beautiful. Explore how this connects with Edom. And I might come back to that. But that's pretty much it. Like, hey, Lord willing, I can continue on. But as for right now, I'm about out of time. And Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.